Hi, I'm Dr. Bojack from Atlantic Chiropractic in Stoneham, Mass. Your posture doc. Today, we're going to touch on headaches. How I got this is a patient came in, said his wife wasn't feeling good. That's why he wasn't in the previous day. And I asked in curiosity what was wrong with her, and he said she's got headaches. So I said, how long has she been getting headaches? He says, well, 2 to 3 years. And I said, what are they like? He goes, well, they seem to start at the base of her neck, radiate to the front of her eyes, and up into her temporal area. And so consequently, I asked what has she been doing in regards to addressing him, and he said medication. So obviously, that didn't float my boat too well. So I'm here to talk about headaches. First and foremost, right? Here's what most of us are doing all day long, right? We're seated and we're at computers. So first, what you start seeing is obviously our good old buffalo hump or camel rounded shoulders or gargoyle, call it whatever you want. Medical terms, it's a kyphotic curve. As soon as we go into that kyphotic state, basically you're messing with the whole ergonomics and mechanics of the structure. Okay? Because as soon as you start doing this, and most of us do this out of boredom, out of laxicity, out of basically laziness, whatever you want to put your hang your hat on as a consequence. But when your head starts going forward and your shoulders start rolling forward, that stress isn't dissipating, right? So you don't no longer have a neck curve because the curve is being compromised by your head being down and your shoulders being rolled forward. Okay? So again, the strength, and again, we go right back to our initial principle, which is structure determines function, and the strength of a straight line is derived by number of curves squared plus 1. 60 to 70% more tensile strength with a curve versus without a curve. So again, right, how to keep ourselves upright over our center of gravity, over our pelvis or center of gravity, is through these curvatures, and these curvatures provide us with an upright posture. We lose these curvatures, we lose that upright posture. More so and more particularly up in that neck area, right? So when this curve starts reversing, all the stress goes up into the upper cervicals, and then we're talking about what? More so a musculature headache. Why is that? Because this is your suboccipital triangle located at C1, C2. Okay, so this loses its motion mechanics. Now the stress starts sitting at the base of that neck, and it starts building in the suboccipital triangle. Now you get spasms in there. You're getting tightness. You're getting throbbing pain. You might have balance issues going on. A very wide array of symptomatology, consequently because of this musculature or suboccipital triangle being compromised. Okay, so it's no longer dissipating that stress; it's collecting that stress. Okay, so because again of this rounded shoulders of how you're sitting, you're getting the irritation at the base of your neck. Obviously, we got all kinds of other complementary changes going on in that spine because of that seated position and because of that lack of uprightness and compromise of these curvatures. So because of that seated position, heads down, shoulders are forward, gargoyle, buffalo hump, camel hump, whatever you want to call it, okay, that upper cervical is compromised because of what? It doesn't no longer have that lordosis or that curvature, okay, call it whatever you want to call it, that banana curve. And because of the lack of that banana curve, that stress is not being what? Dissipated. So this curve spreads out the tension. No curve, lack of curve, postural distortions, stress becomes localized or starts sitting at the base of that neck and starts aggravating this whole dynamics of functionality in the spine, which kicks out headaches, kicks out blind spots, kicks out spasm, eyebrows, blurred vision, whatever you want to relate to that upstairs in regards to sinus irritations, allergies, hay fevers. Okay, so no curve. Curve's not dissipating that stress. It's going to sit at the base of that neck. Again, remember, right? These curvatures from a lateral or side dimension, they're the ones that compromise first. So it's from a lateral dimension or side dimension that we get compromise. That's the first compromise structurally. And then what? Because of this lack of curve or military neck, whatever the case may be, then you start getting these structural distortions, right? Rotations, lateral deviations, translations, whatever you want to pick. Again, structure determines function, right? Lateral cervical strength of a straight line is derived by number of curves squared plus 160 to 70% more tensile strength with a curve versus without a curve. Science is science. You can't argue it. This is a curve. A curve dissipates stress, dissipates tension. This curve is lateral curve is the first one that compensates. Then compensation A to P. Okay? So you got this banana curve. So what do we want to do? We want to support that or what? Reestablish that curve. Because again, right, as we put our head back and put our shoulders back, that gives that structure, specifically the neurology in that structure, the availability to what? USA, right? Take a break, relax, chill out, go from a sympathetic state into a parasympathetic state. And when it moves and transitions from a sympathetic to a parasympathetic, you start to relax. You start to relax. Headaches are only due because of stress, because of lack of structural integrity to compensate for that stress. A pill, potion, lotion is not going to change the structural integrity. It's not going to magically change this non-curve into a curve. So what do we want to do? We want to support a curve. We don't want to take away from the curve. We want to support it, acknowledge it, complement it, build it up. How's that going to happen? How about with a fulcrum? We put a fulcrum in here. What's going to happen? Head goes back, shoulders go back. This fulcrum acts as a pivoting point. Now it starts to open up that neck, opens up the neck, takes the pressure off the actual muscles, the spasticity of muscles, which opens up the neurology, which again flips it from a sympathetic fight or flight to a parasympathetic state. Or we go with what? Adenerol. Okay? Same principle, right? How about we go just to a good old-fashioned towel, right? Fold it in half, roll it up, and now what? You got to roll. Doesn't look as plush and as elaborate as the Denerol, nor as some of the other rolls, but it does the job, right? Stuff it in back, and you got something to lay on and stretch. Again, it's going to support that curve, and it's going to give you the opportunity to stretch the tissue, particularly the muscles. What do we got to do? We got to back you out of that sympathetic state into a parasympathetic state, which is rest, relaxation, rebuilding from your fight or flight state. These are just tips and hints in order for that to occur. We highly suggest you come into the clinic and let us do a workup on you to find out what your curve looks like, what your structure work looks like, and what it needs to do or what we need to do in order to what? Do the work on it to correct it or change it. Again, thanks for giving us the time to give you some postural tips, some ergonomic tips, some functional tips in regards to your structure and how it works. Love you all. Appreciate you. God bless. Thank you for your time. I really appreciate it. I know time is very valuable. Give us a little love and please hit subscribe so we can get these videos to you. We love making them and we just want a little love back. That's all we're looking for. We love acknowledging you and giving you pertinent information regards to structural mechanics, postural distortions, and basic life.